Davis Fogle has committed to Gonzaga. This came in over the weekend on the 4th of July. This is a top 50 recruit in the class of 2025. 6'5" shooting guard, shooter with some shit to him. We love a white boy with some shit to him. He chose Gonzaga over Kansas and Creighton. He is a state of Washington kid, so good fit for him to end up in Mark Few's hands at Gonzaga. Fun player. I'm excited to get your breakdown of Davis Fogle's game. What do you make of this commitment?
Yeah, the first thing that stuck out to me when I watched him is he is I'm going to call him Mariner Braylon Mullins, because we've talked about Braylon Mullins a lot on this channel. I know both the Indiana and Purdue fans out there are very high on this kid's game. They're built the exact same. They're both knockdown shooters, but both of them can do a little something off the bounce. I think Fogle's more athletic than you would originally think, just looking at a gangly white dude. Like, he can punch one on somebody. And so he's from, like, I did the deep dive of where exactly in Washington is he from. It's called Anacortes. It seems like it's an island in the northwestern part of the state, excuse me. Actually pretty close to where our good friend Eli Becker lives, off of Whidbey Island outside of Seattle. So that's where I came up with he's Mariner Braylon Mullins, because it looks like he grew up on an island, or at least close to an island. One of the first things that came up when I searched Anacortes, Washington was Anacortes, Washington fairy time. So yeah, that's his life. Love the get for Gonzaga. Seems like a good multi-year piece. And, this has been something we've teased out on the show before, I think in different comments that people have asked us in the full episodes, but essentially the question of how important is player development in this day and age with the portal, sort of just allowing you to reset your roster every year. I'm still of the belief it matters, and I think you're hard pressed to find a better player developer than Mark Few, or a staff that's better at that. I would say he and Bill Self are really a cut above everybody else. Also interesting that he had Kansas in his final three. But yeah, Gonzaga's getting a good multi-year piece, and I think he probably should continue to rise up the rankings. He's playing at Compass Prep this upcoming year in Arizona. Yeah, maybe he'd be a top 20 kid if his last name wasn't Fogle.
I love that take from you. Fun player. I can see it. I can see it. I kind of don't see it, but I do see it, but I also don't see it. First off, good on Gonzaga. I feel like the way the Gonzaga program works just kind of cracks me up, because, like, I feel like they're the only program in the country where, like, you can just be quietly going about your day in the middle of July, or, like, you're on the grill on the 4th of July and all of a sudden, oh, Gonzaga got a 4-star shooting guard. Like, they just operate, like, in the background quietly, and then next season shows up and they're top 10 again and again and again and again. Look, this is a very good player. Obviously, choosing Gonzaga over Kansas and Creighton, it means that. I think those schools, or those final three, are indicative of his game to me. Like, I'm a little surprised Kansas was in it, and I don't know how serious. I'm sure Kansas would have taken him, but I don't know. I don't know the backstory of the recruitment of how serious was Kansas prioritizing this kid. He feels like a Creighton player to me. Like, you watch the tape, it's like just all offense, 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 crazy shot making. And it, like, his offers being Creighton and Gonzaga make a ton of sense to me. If you watch the film, he is just a super, super crafty offensive player. Like, he's making absurd shots from everywhere. It's like off balance, contested, fadeaway stuff. You're right. The athleticism is a lot more than you would expect. There's a lot of in-game dunk stuff that does remind you of Braylon Mullins, where it's like, oh, he's a shooter, but he can do that. That's crazy.
Yep.
He's a big-time layup lines dunker, too. Like, every highlight video I saw, or package that was put together, included, like, some crazy windmill at the start of it that he's just doing. His handle's better than I think people would think, too. Like, all of the clips of him in half-court settings are not like running off a screen, catch and shoot.
Right.
It's like, give him the ball, do him, and he makes some crazy unorthodox shot. He has a good crossover. Again, off-balance shooting and contested shot making is like the whole story here to me. Here's where the skepticism comes in for me. Number one, this is something Carter always tells me you got to keep in mind at the high school level. The competition level in these clips concerns me. And you mentioned he's going to end up at AZ Compass. That's great. Most of the real film that I have seen, I believe, is just from his high school team that he's been playing for in Washington. Now, he's the number one
Right.
player in the state of Washington. Washington is a good basketball state. I have no questions. But all of these clips, all the shots he's making are typically coming on a floor full of guys who are way smaller and way slower than him. That's okay. It's okay. But man, all the footage is tough shots. And if all you're getting is tough shots against guys who are smaller and slower than you, I get a little concerned about why you're not getting better shots than that at this level. And we'll see how he does at Compass, but that would be the difference to me. Like Braylon Mullins, I've seen do against some of the best athletes in the class. I think he has more off-ball stuff. Fogle is like he's the best player on the floor, so he's going to do everyone smaller than him. I don't know if that translates when the competition gets better.
Yeah. Is Mullins, is he on the Adidas circuit or the EYBL circuit? You know off
Ooh.
the top of your head? I know he's with
Oh, it
Malachi
was
Marino.
EYBL.
I thought it was EYBL too, but for some reason I'm second guessing it. But yeah, I think Vogel's been playing on the Under Armour circuit, which no disrespect, but I can't really remember the last time there was a big name player on the Under Armour circuit.
Mullins has been with Indiana Elite, which I believe that's Adidas.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, Adidas circuit has had some talent in recent years,
Yeah.
more so than like again the Under Armour circuit. I'm not overly familiar with it, so I see your point. You got to hope the athleticism translates, but yeah, I think he kind of hit at it. It's nice to see him make those off balance shots. He sort of has the Dirk Nowitzki one legged fadeaway in his bag, but against this type of competition, you probably want to see a few more dunks, a few more layups, a few more blow bys as opposed to contested shots.
Yeah, I think he's a dude who like it's a great ad, but I would be equally I guess surprised or not surprised. Like it's 50-50 to me that 4 years from now we look back and it's like, "Oh, he's the fun 12th guy on Gonzaga." Versus like, "Oh, he's their best player." Like I could see either outcome happening. Mark Few's a good landing spot for guys like that. You can develop over 4 years and they've had no shortage of really fun wing prospects the last few years. But also like how many of them have really panned out? Like
Right.
even looking at last year's roster, like the end of the bench is just a bunch of like shoot first wings that didn't play. So I don't know. We'll
And
see.
I think even like Dusty Stromer is a name that came to mind who I can't remember. He played at one of those prep schools, I think. I remember watching his AAU tape and thinking he'd be an instant impact guy, and that wasn't really the case. It took him a little while to find his footing, but he was sort of established himself as a gritty defender who could be impactful because of his size. And I don't really know if Vogel's going to have that as his calling card right away.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I put him right in line with like the Dusty Stromer and then the South Korean kid. I'm gonna botch his name, but is it Jun Suk Yo?
I think that's right.
I have no idea how to say it, but like there's all these like really fun shoot first wings on Gonzaga, and it's like, oh, they're so promising. They combined to average 6 points a game last year. So like he feels right in line to learn from that group, and maybe by junior senior year he's really good. But we'll see. Show us on the up. What? Where's Compass? What circuit are they on? That's the Under Armour you said.
His AAU team is the Under Armour circuit. His high school is he's going to Compass to play like high school ball this year.
Okay, all right. I'm ready for it. I want to see it. Congrats to Gonzaga, big time ad. Just quietly landing great recruits over the 4th of July. You gotta love.